Kia ora koutou. My name's Leilani. Today we're going to be going through an active flexibility workout. Now this is one of my favorite workout types to do because it allows me to increase my flexibility as well as improve strength. This is one of the best types of flexibility training that you can do because it really focuses on muscle engagement and using your muscles to pull you into stretching poses as opposed to just holding a pose statically and trying to relax into it. There's a lot more room for injury, and when you improve your strength with flexibility, you're gonna see a lot better results a lot quicker. So I'm really excited to share that with you today. We're going to need something to prop yourself up on, maybe like a hard book, or you can kind of get creative here. I've got this foam roller that I'm gonna use. We're gonna be focusing on front splits as well as bridges today. So if you would like to try an over split, you can also grab a chair or just a yoga block if you have one. It's all about being creative at home here. So we'll get started warming up, and then we'll go into our front splits, and then we'll finish off with some bridges and then some abs at the end as well. So you are welcome to play your own music here. I didn't want to play music today, but I have linked my Spotify workout playlists below if you would like that as well. So let's just get started warming up the neck, head side to side, nice and slow here. Just bring that ear to shoulder, really gentle. Good, let's bring our feet into a squat. We're gonna squat down, make big circles back with the arms. So when you come into your squat, you wanna make sure that your knees are staying behind the toes. You're just coming down to about 90 degrees, warming up the glutes. Good, keep that up. All right, let's bring our hands out in front. We're gonna squeeze our shoulder blades behind us, pulling the elbows back, keeping them at shoulder height, warming up the back. Nice and slow here. Good, let's come into a side lunge. Again, knee stays over the ankle, and you're just gonna gently rock side to side, warming up the inner thighs. Good, let's hold up to one side. Let's look up to the ceiling. Open up that shoulder. Really rotate through. We're gonna be using our shoulders a lot today. Good, other side. Good, let's come to the center of our mat. Do some jumping jacks. Get the heart rate up a little bit. And clap. Good, all right, so come back to our squat position. We're gonna arch the back to the floor and then round the back to the ceiling. So from the side, warming up the spine. It's okay to feel a bit silly here. That's the point. I'm gonna start moving our bodies in weird ways. Good. Now we're gonna come back to a squat, and then we're gonna straighten the legs. So squat, straighten, stretching out the hamstring. About 10 of these. back of our mat. We're gonna slowly roll down, keeping the legs straight. We're gonna walk out into a plank. So option here, making sure the shoulders are over the wrists. You can take it wider for a push-up on the toes or a push-up on the knees. Just warming up, so just take it slow. We'll do about 10 of these as well. Warming up our core, warming up the wrists. Nice deep breaths overhead. Do a couple more here. Last one. Good. Come down into a mountain climber pose, hands under shoulders. We're gonna bring our knees in towards our chest. You can either come here or tap here. Just get the heart rate up. Let's bring it across the body and out wide. Good. Sitting back onto the knees. Roll those shoulders back. Let's roll out our wrists here. Get them nice and warm. And other way. Good, just take a big wave. And other way. Good, now we're gonna do some shoulder engagement. This is really important for planks and bridges and anything where you're pushing the floor away. So you can start in a tabletop, knees underneath hips, hands under shoulders. And keeping your arms straight, you're gonna sink into your shoulders and then push away from you. So if you've never done this before, it can be a little bit tricky, but basically you're thinking about relaxing and then pushing up, really pushing floor away, keeping everything engaged. You want your upper back to press through the shoulder blades. So if you feel okay here, you can try come onto the knees, keeping a nice straight line from the floor to your head. And same thing, push away. Keeping the core engaged. And if you're okay there, you can do a couple here. Good, really push that floor away. Remember this feeling as we go through our poses. You want to keep active and not sink into the shoulders. You want to keep everything pulled away. Good, just roll it out. Shake the wrists out one more time. We're going to come back into a plank. Press up into our downward facing dog. And we're going to take big circles with the leg, warming up the hip. Keep pressing the floor away from you. Oh, I hear it click. Good, coming back into a child's pose. Reach those hands forward, stretch out the back. Good, let's do the same thing on the other side. Pressing up to a plank, downward facing dog, heels press to the floor. Do about 10 each side. great warm-up to do before any exercise that you want to do. I usually do this one even if I'm lifting weights, and then I'll go into a more specific warm-up. So we're going to start warming up the legs next. So go ahead, lie down, back on the mat, one knee bent. You're going to bring that leg straight and kick up to the ceiling 10 times each side. Really get active here. Good, let's roll over to our side. We're gonna stack our hips. You can bend this bottom knee for more support or leave it straight. And just lying down, we're gonna kick up to the side. Toe can open up at the top. 10 each side. Good, so flipping over. Good, now we're gonna come onto our forearms. Start with your knees underneath your hips. Coming down here, we're gonna extend one leg behind and keeping your abs tucked in, back nice and flat. We're gonna lift and lower that leg, just coming up to about the height of your hips, squeezing the glutes, focusing on engaging through the glutes and the core. We'll do 10 each side, nice little lifts here. Good, swapping sides. Good, nice job. All right, we're gonna come into some quad activation and some more glute activation as well, because this is gonna help with our splits and our bridges. So these ones, this is our first active flexibility exercise. You start with your knees underneath your hips, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the core, arms out front. We're gonna slowly lower back, and as soon as you get to as far as you can go, come back up. We'll aim for 10 of these, squeezing the glutes. Firing up the quads. Warming up the core. I know these are nasty, keep it up. Two more, we're gonna hold on our last one, all right? 9. Last one, let's burn it out. Hold at the bottom, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core. Ooh, and up, woo. Nice job. Shake out the legs here. Grab some water if you need at any point. All right, when you're ready, we're gonna come over to a wall. forgot to mention, make sure you have a wall. I'm sure we all have walls. We're all at home. You can bring your mat all the way over. We're gonna do some more ab and quad activation. Again, this is to help with our front splits. So come with your glutes all the way back to the wall. Sitting up nice and straight, shoulders back and down. We're gonna bring our hands on either side of our legs. You're gonna point your toes and squeeze your quads so that your heels lift off the floor. And we're gonna do 10 little lifts each side. Thinking about engaging through the low ab. Keep those heels lifted. Once you finish 10, swapping sides. Keep pointing the toe. Feel the quad fire up. Good, and relax. Jiggle the legs. We're just gonna come into some flex, point, flex, point. Feeling how our quads shift each time. Now, if you haven't done these before, it can be a little bit tricky your first time, but I promise if you practice even once a week, you'll see it gets a lot easier really quickly. Good, and relax. All right, we're gonna do that same thing, feet together, hands on opposite side. You can push into the floor here to help get up, but try to keep the back lifted and keep the focus through the core as much as it is the quads. So pointing the toes, heels come off the floor. I'll do 10 here. Keep the legs straight. Impulse. And relax. Good, shake out the legs. Those ones are hard, but I promise you they're gonna help so much with your splits. All right, next we're gonna bring our legs to about 90 degrees, so not too wide. You wanna keep it at a nice square angle. So we're gonna do that same thing. We're gonna point the toes, lift the heels, bring hands on either side of one leg. Let's do 10 lifts. And other side. Keep the legs straight. Good, shake it out. Again, give yourself a little massage. All right, next we're gonna do 10 lifting both legs at the same time. So start by pointing the toes. Think about firing up the abs, shoulders back and down, nice and straight. Let's go. It's okay if it's just little lifts off the floor. Doesn't need to be high here. And pulse. As long as you can. Good. Rest it out. Grab some water. I'm gonna grab my water. That is not easy. So good job. Even if you get like a few centimeters off the floor, that's okay. That's where I started as well. All right. We're going to do one more active flexibility for our quads before we stretch it out. So let's start at the wall. You can hold yourself up for balance here. I'm gonna take one foot out in front, straighten it. It doesn't have to be here. It can be down here, wherever you are at. That's okay. We're just gonna first focus on stretching, and then we're gonna hold. So get your stretch, and let go. Hold it up as high as you can, keeping that leg straight. Ab stays engaged, pointing the toe. Working the quad. Do 20 seconds each side. Keep it pointed. Good, rest it out. And swap sides, see the opposite leg. So hand on the wall for balance, stretching that leg out in front. Keep that standing leg straight with a micro bend in the knee. And let's go. Keep breathing here. Rotate it out slightly. Awesome job, we're halfway. It's okay if your legs are shaking, that's the goal. 18, 19, 20. Good, roll it out. Shake it out. We're gonna do that same thing, but to the side this time. So go ahead, grab onto the wall. This time bring your leg out to the side. So it's gonna look more like this, as opposed to in front here. So get your stretch on. Again, doesn't have to be up as high as me. It can be here, it can be down here. Wherever you're at, that's okay. So get the stretch. Tuck that pelvis underneath. You don't want to be rotated up here. You want to keep the hips tucked under. Abs engage, and let's hold. Keep the toe pointed. Halfway. Good. Rest it out. Nice job. I know these suck. I told you it wasn't going to be easy, but it's so much fun. Okay, let's do the same thing the other side. Leg out to the side, hips open, and then tuck them underneath. Hold it here, 20 seconds. Keep breathing. Two and one. Good job, shake it out. A nice little rest. We're gonna start stretching out the quads. All right, so you can either use the wall here if you have quite a lot of quad flexibility, or you can start in a lunge, 1 foot behind, and either hold here or reach behind and grab that back foot to stretch the quads. Otherwise, let's bring our knee all the way to the wall. 1 foot out in front, lifting up straight. We're gonna stretch out the quad. So we got a lot of nice work warming it up. Now it's time to stretch. A nice deep breath here. Good, and then when you're ready, you're gonna scoot that front foot forward. Sink deep into the hips to stretch out the hips flexor. I'm gonna hold here, 30 seconds each side. So you can either stay here or you can let go, reach up, and then do 10 reach backs towards the wall to start warming up our shoulders. Make sure your knee's not coming out to the side. You want to keep it straight over the ankle. Squeezing the core. And reach back. Option to come down. And coming forward, let's straighten that front leg to stretch the hamstring. Leaning forward into the stretch here. Good, let's swap sides. Do the same thing on the other leg. Knee comes to the wall. Starting sitting up straight. And then when you're ready, scoot that foot forward. Sink into the hips a little deeper here. Keep the chest lifted. And if it's in your practice, reach up. 10 little lifts to the wall. And if you'd like, reaching back. And lifting up, let's straighten that front leg, flexing the foot. Stretching out the hamstring in the back of the leg. Again, you can do this away from the wall if you prefer. Good. All right. Come on out of it. We're gonna start into our front splits. Go ahead, grab your objects if you're gonna be using those. If you need to warm up your front splits a bit more, you can. You can start in the lunge here. And just practice coming backwards and forwards. I'm feeling pretty warmed up though, so I'm going to come straight down to my splits. Start by straightening the legs, lower down. If you need an object to hold, you can use this to help prop yourself up so you're not coming as far down to the floor. Now what I focus on here is you want to be active in this split as well. You don't want to be relaxing. You want to use your front leg, the top quad, to pull this hip back and the back hip forward. So a good rule of thumb is that whatever muscle you're stretching, the opposite muscle is going to be working. So that's why we did so many quad activations, because my quad is now active here, it's working. And I'm going to prop myself up so I can get that nice square alignment with the hips and not tilting side to side. Just breathing in here. Keeping that quad engaged. Now it's really important to practice good form when you're on your own. Of course, if you're performing or showing off for Instagram, you can fake the split. But when you're on your own, really important to try to keep those hips in line. Good, and then when you're ready, you can push out of it this way. Nice and slow. You can do some knee circles, stretch out the hips. And let's do the same thing, opposite side. Again, you can warm up more if you need here. So I start by coming all the way down, and then I lift back up to get that square alignment with my hips. And I keep that quad active. Again, you can use your props for balance. Go ahead and come out of it here. Shaking the legs. Get nice and loose, grab some water if you need. All right, so now we're gonna do an active split. So even if you're not to the floor yet, that's okay. Go ahead, grab your objects. Let's come into one side. So again, you can start here and then get that nice square alignment. Just gonna reach forward towards the front leg. And if you would like, don't have to, reaching back. Inhale forward, reaching back. Now we're gonna do 10 lifts to the sky, so you can use your fingers for balance here, but try not to press into your hands. You really wanna be using your leg muscles to lift. So you can either keep your hands down or here. Just gonna do 10 little pulses. Squeeze and hold. And relax. Swap sides. All right, opposite leg comes forward. Wherever you're comfortable here. And you can use these objects to your advantage. Make sure they don't roll away. So starting off nice and square. Inhale, lifting down. Exhale, optional. We're gonna do our 10 lifts. You ready? That's the spirit. Okay, remember you can keep your hands down, but try not to press up, or hands by the ears. Do 10 pulses. And squeeze as long as you can. And relax. Good, nice job, you guys. Go ahead, bring your legs together. See a little stretch to either side. And exhale. All right, now option here is to do an oversplit. Even if you're, a few inches above the ground, you can still start practicing your oversplit as long as you have something to sturdy you. And again, with stretching, it should just feel like a mild discomfort. You don't want to be feeling any sharp pains or pops, obviously. So just do what feels comfortable. Don't push it too much. Start where you're at. You can use a little lift to start with. Just putting your foot here and lowering back to keep that split. Now I know this is gonna look ridiculous, but it is a great way to train over splits, is to grab a chair. And the goal is not to go all the way down to the floor. The goal is to simply get more range of motion in your depth. And you can have an object for balance. You start with your foot on the chair. And then coming down here, remembering that square position I talked about in the beginning, using the top muscle to pull that leg in, keeping the hips nice and square. Nice deep breaths here. Keeping active, never dumping into the muscle joint. And 10 pulses. And squeeze. Good, slowly, gently coming out. Rocking the hips open. Other side. Good. We start with one foot. One side may be better than the other, that's okay. That's why we train both sides. Make sure we keep everything even. And start sinking down, grabbing your little thing to prop up on. Squeezing the quad back. Keeping everything in line. Staying active here, remembering those exercises we did earlier. Nice deep breaths, optional, lay back. And forward. Let's do 10 pulses. And squeeze. You should be sweating here. Whew. This is honestly one of the hardest types of exercises to do in my opinion. I've done CrossFit and nothing compares to this. So if you've made it this far, you're doing awesome. I hope you're enjoying it. Okay, last thing to finish off our splits we're gonna do some active split training, which is really good if you wanna do, handstand splits or anything like that. So you can either do this away from the wall. You're just gonna keep the legs straight and kick up behind you as high as you can, 10 times. Or if you have your split pretty close to the floor, you can come over to the wall. The leg comes up. You're gonna push back, keeping that back leg straight. We're gonna do 10 little lifts off the wall. And hold. Straighten that leg. Good, coming down. Let's swap sides, opposite foot comes up. Starting that split, back leg stays straight. 10 little lifts. And hold and squeeze, point the toe. Good, coming down. Nice job, you guys. All done with front splits today. All right, now we're gonna start warming up our back for some bridges. We're gonna start in a cobra pose. So coming all the way down to the mat. Hands barely touching. You're gonna lift up as much as you can without using your hands. And then once you can't go anymore, use your hands, lift up, squeezing the glutes, looking behind you. And then slowly lower down. We're gonna do that 10 times. So engaging the shoulders, spine is straight, lifting up using your muscles as much as you can. Squeezing the glutes. Look behind. Now this next exercise I usually do with someone holding my feet, or the bed is a really good option. I've got quite a low bed, so it can make sure my feet don't go anywhere. But if you don't have that available to you, this is a way to do the same exercise. You're gonna keep your hands here, pointing the toes, squeezing the glutes, lift up, looking behind you, and come down. Or do 10 of these.
If you do have something to secure your feet, this is what the exercise is gonna look like. You're gonna keep your arms straight by your ears and look all the way back behind you as far as you can. And squeeze the glutes and lift and hold at the top, working the back, looking behind you as much as you can before releasing. Once you've done 10 of those, go ahead and stretch back into a child's pose.
Okay, next stretch, we're gonna come back over to the wall. So stand just about fingertip or arm's length away. We're gonna work on pressing our chest, looking back and opening up, stretching out the upper back. So start here. And the closer your hands are at the top, the deeper the stretch. So just start with about shoulder height. Reaching up, arching forward. Stay planted. Good. Slowly coming out. You can take a little counter stretch for your neck by looking down. Maybe side to side. Let's do that same thing, except maybe bring your hands a little bit closer. Or if you're super flexible, you can actually use a book to prop your arms back a little bit to get a deeper stretch. So start fingertips length away, and arms together, reaching forward. Okay, the next really important thing to do to warm up for our bridge is to stretch out our wrists, because they take quite a lot of pressure. So let's start in a tabletop, knees underneath hips. And let's just walk the hands out, pointing the fingertips in different directions. So I'm gonna walk here in the back flat. And then you're gonna rotate around so that your palms are facing forward, forearms are forward, fingertips are back towards you. And then just gently leaning back, keeping your wrists flat on the floor, your palms flat on the floor. We're gonna stretch out the forearm here. This is such a good stretch. It helps so much with my wrist pain and my shoulder pain. It helps alleviate it because oftentimes that's from forearms that are pulling too tight, causing issues. So this is a good stretch to do pretty much anytime you work out. I always do this. Coming forward, coming back around. Let's do the counter stretch. So this time palms facing up, fingers, hips facing down. Do nice little rotations all the way around. And you can place your fingers in towards each other here. And you can lift up, close to a fist, open, slowly lower down, keeping that weight over. This is just to help strengthen the wrist muscles. Wrists are often prone to injury because they're quite small muscle joints and they take a lot of weight, especially if you do handstands or anything like that. Really, really important to keep the wrists nice and strong. Slow and controlled movements here, nothing too sudden. Just do what feels comfortable. Nice and strong at the top. Good, last one. And 10. Let's come down to the counter stretch. Fingertips face towards you, palms facing up. Stretch out the back of the wrists. Good, just shake it out. While we're here, I'll show you some wrist push-ups that you can also do to strengthen the wrist. So starting from the side, palms face down this time. Starting in tabletop, you can either lift and lower up onto the front part of the palm here 10 times, or you can come up all the way onto the fingertips, working the forearms. Do about 10 reps, again, nice and slow and controlled. Good, nice job. All right, let's keep warming up our bridge. We're gonna come down to the mat. Come into a nice bridge position. Ankles are just fingertips length away. You're gonna squeeze the glutes, lift the hips to the ceiling, and then work your shoulder blades underneath. Option is to grab and interlace your fingers together, squeeze to the ceiling. Nice deep breaths. Coming down. So you can do a couple more here if you need. You can always pause the video and keep going. I'm going to start with the next bridge warm-up exercise. So you're going to start on your knees just like we did for the first exercise where we were leaning back. You're going to rotate around, come behind, and then come to the other side all the way down.
Now go ahead and repeat this 5 times each side. Nice slow and controlled movements in your own time.
Good. Holding here, push the hips forward. And rotating around. Coming back down, nice work. So if you would like to just press up into your bridge, you're welcome to do that now. Another thing you can do to warm up and also to enter your bridge is to start with your feet down. One hand comes behind. You're going to rotate all the way around, looking behind, and then come down. And then all the way, looking behind, squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips like you're going to go into the bridge, but instead Just come to a nice stretch. So once you do about 10 of those, on the last one you can reach all the way around. That hand that's on the floor behind you, your fingertips are going to rotate so that you're back into your bridge position, fingertips pointing towards you, so it looks like this.
Now is the time to have some fun with your bridge. Play around with it wherever you're at. You want to practice pushing into the shoulders so that you get a nice deep stretch there. And you can also practice slightly straightening the legs to further deepen the stretch in the shoulders. You can also practice by putting one leg up overhead by centering the bottom foot before lifting and straightening. Remember those nice long lean legs that we practiced earlier. And you can do either side. Usually one side is better than the other.
Lowering down.
Go ahead and rock out your back if you need here. You can rock along the spine, do what feels good. Just take some time to do a counter stretch.
Good, let's try that entry on the other side. This time in our bridge, we're going to focus on bringing our feet together and straightening our leg. That's going to help push back into the shoulder and get a nice little shoulder stretch. So try the opposite side, reaching all the way around.
To straighten your legs in a bridge, start by stepping your feet out slightly and bringing them together before straightening the legs to push back into the shoulders. If that feels good, when you're ready to come up, you can bend the knees and walk your hands in as close as you can to your feet before squeezing the glutes and straightening the legs to stand.
Good, all right, the next sequence we're gonna do is, if you have a leg lift, we're gonna practice lifting and lowering 5 times each side. If you don't quite have your leg lift, you can also just hold it statically. Just practice stretching out your bridge. That is a-okay wherever you're at. These are just some options to start incorporating and start working towards wherever you are. So let's go into our bridge.
As a reminder, when you lift your leg in the bridge, you want to start by centering the bottom foot before lifting the opposite leg and keeping it as straight as possible. Remember to keep pushing the floor away from your hands to stay active into the shoulders and avoid sinking into the shoulder joint.
Coming down. So you can rock out the spine.
Another counter stretch you can do is a plow by lifting your hips over your head and shooting your feet back behind you. It's important here that you keep your gaze at the top of the ceiling and avoid moving your head side to side to prevent injury to the neck.
All right, the last bridge variation we're gonna do is a forearm stand. So, but this is a really good one for your shoulders. Have someone by you to spot you if you need as well. So let's just roll up into our bridge.
Forearm bridges are a great way to improve flexibility in the shoulders. Remember to keep looking towards your feet and to stay active in the shoulder joint. When you're ready to come down, tuck your chin towards your chest and slowly lower down.
And tucking the head. Coming down, nice and safe. So as a little bonus, if you want to do some more endurance work in your bridge and more active stretching, also freaking out your flatmates, this is a great option. You can start walking around. So either walking back and forth or side to side. I'll show you what that looks like.
This is a great way to build endurance in your bridge. If this is your first time, just practice walking a couple inches up and down your mat.
Alright, we're gonna finish off with some abs. Abs is a really good thing to do if you've been stretching your back because it just helps bring everything back together and helps with stability, and pretty much any exercise you want to do comes back to a nice strong core. So let's just start by laying on our mat, bending the knees, feet come flat. We're gonna lift the shoulder blades up, keeping a ball space between the chin and the chest. We're gonna reach side to side, little penguins here. We'll do about 20 reps, working the sides of the obliques. Good, lowering down. Do some V-up crunches. So one option, bend the knees, come up. This is option 1. Option 2, straight legs, reach for the toes. So that one wasn't very good. Let's try that again. Good, lower down. All right, let's do some work for the low abs. I'm gonna focus on straightening the legs. We're gonna do little lifts here to bring our hips up. This should feel really burning in the core. Straighten the legs. Little lifts to the ceiling. Making sure your feet aren't coming back here. You really wanna keep the legs straight. It's gonna put everything into the low ab. Nice job. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any requests that you'd like to see, we could be doing middle splits together, chest stands. There is lots of different exercises out there that I would love to share with you. So be sure to leave a comment, give this video a like, share it around, and spread the active flexibility love. All right, guys, stay safe. Take care. Bye.